Health Services and 2020 Vision Radio presents Out of the Shadows and Into the Light with host Dr. Glenville E. Liebert and special guests. Join us every Friday at 7 a.m. as we promote awareness of disability issues to affect policy and social change for the better. Be a part of the conversation by calling 1-869-469-7953 or 1-869-765-7312. You can also WhatsApp call 1-869-669-7312. And don't forget our Magic Jack number 917-460-2187. Every Friday at 7 a.m. we bring you out of the shadows and into the light. Sponsored by Eureka Health Services in collaboration with 2020 Vision Radio.
Are you concerned about your health? Come on, everyone should be. The old people say that who don't pay a doctor will pay a pastor, or someone will for you. So before it reaches to that stage, come on in and visit Eureka Health Services in Ramsbury. Dr. Liebert and his associates at Eureka will take excellent care of you. They're friendly, experienced, and professional. So call them at 1-869-469-0521 or 1-869-662-5187. And for more information, just visit their website at www.eurekahealthservices.com. At Eureka Health Services, patients are our number one priority.
Good morning to one and all. Welcome to another edition of Out of the Shadows and Into the Light. And I am your host, Dr. Glenville Liebert. And with me in the studio is my chief host, Mr. Renford Doe, and our friendly co-host, our partner, Mr. Paul Fort. And online, we have a special guest this morning who will introduce herself in short order. But before we do, Renford will give a word of thanks and praise.
Good morning, Dr. Liebert. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Dr. Hank. And our Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are and all that you've been to us. We trust you for everything that you'll do with us, through us, and for us today. Lord, we ask that you'll use us to be a blessing and use us to honor you, Lord, in everything that we do and say. Let this program be a success. May it reach to hearts, Lord, and may they be cooperative. May they be open to receive the message that we shall share today. Bless all of us who are here on the program today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Good morning, Dr. Hines. The floor is yours to introduce yourself to the audience.
Oh, good morning, everyone. It is wonderful to be here with everyone. Good morning, and thank you for the invitation, Dr. Liebert. Thank you for the invitation, Renford Doe. And it is a privilege to join with Dr. Paul Fort. I have seen him in action at the recent Caribbean Disability Conference. And so to meet you, to actually see you, I join with everyone who's always delighted to know that they're in the presence of Paul Fort. So thank you so much, gentlemen. I am representing this morning my organization, the Charlotte Education Services Consortium. It's a limited liability company headquartered in Michigan, USA, and in Georgetown, Guyana. We are an assembly of siblings who thought it fit to follow the footsteps of our parents, who were both teachers, and we've put together all our competencies to help those who are in need. In the disability space, we deliver education, training. We train policymakers, administrators, teachers, parents, community members. In other words, all of society. It is our conviction that persons with disabilities do not wait for us to be equipped and qualified to be born. they come at us every day and we discover the blessings that they are. And so it is my privilege to be joined with my siblings and with partners such as Dr. Liebert uh, to deliver training in special education to all of society. I'd like to emphasize that. It is therefore a great pleasure to join you here on the station and to be sure that we um, take care of all the needs of the region. God bless you, and I am here at your service.
Yes, thank you so very much for that overview of you and your partners, your siblings, your organization, and the work that you're doing. And this program is part of that global effort to educate the wider public and the community of disabled persons. And as the name of the program says, we want to bring them out of the shadows and into the light. And education plays a very important part in that process. What you say, Paul?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Renford Door. Good morning, Dr. Liebert. Good morning, Dr. Haynes. Thank you for that little snippet there about Paul Fort. But yes, Dr. Liebert, we are always keen on helping out where we can help out for the educating one of persons with disabilities, but more so for persons who do not have disabilities, and teaching them or helping them to understand how to interact with the community when the time is upon them.
Indeed, indeed. And I mean, sometimes we assume that everybody is like us and that they can move and act just the way we do, but we have to learn to come off our high horses and come down to the level of the person we are trying to help. And, I mean, it's a learning experience. It's a journey of compassion and empathy, and put yourself in the shoes of the other person and get to feel their pain and understand life from their perspective. And so it takes education to appreciate those nuances in how we can properly help. What you say, when for the person with a visual impairment?
I agree, and good morning, Dr. Hines. I have been in recent times thinking that perhaps persons without disabilities may need more training than those with disabilities. And so I've been, whenever I have the opportunity to pitch for persons who are interested, and so, to come on board and try to understand persons with disabilities, and rather than try to fit them into their mold, just try to find out from them, how can I help you? How can I best help you? And it has been proven, I'm sure, that persons with disabilities know exactly what they want and how they want it done and how to get it done in a comfortable way. Right? So we have to be cohesive, we have to be good listeners and make an effort to be hand-holding and make this journey easier for all of us. And so I'm always thankful for persons like you, Dr. Liebert, you know that, and Dr. Hines. I'm very appreciative of all the efforts that you have contributed to training and ensuring that persons with disabilities are comfortable, not only comfortable, but that they find themselves in a space where they know that somebody is listening and help them to get to where they want to go.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Hines, you have to let the audience know a little bit about our journey and how we became connected. It's very important to share that story.
Well, I think our relationship is now, 10 days old?
Yes.
It feels older.
We move like lightning in this space.
But we are very grateful. I am very grateful, Dr. Loud. Our organization, CBI, is very grateful. And we look forward to having you in our physical space, Dr. Hines.
I can't wait.
But when people of like minds are on the same journey,
yes,
then great things happen.
Indeed.
Absolutely. I think it's just wonderful, this effort at broadcasting in the audiovisual space where folk can hear. I don't know what your reach is in terms of audience, but maybe being on Facebook, you can reach the world.
Yes.
And that's our theme at CESC, Charlotte Education Services Consortium. It is celebrating possibilities globally. So in our classes, we have people join from all over the world. And it is a wonderful, wonderful experience to share our experiences, our opinions, and to just grow from there.
Wonderful.
It's a great feeling to be learning from each other, because all of
Yes.
us have something to contribute, to the
Yes.
process.
So we met at the recent, the second annual Caribbean Disability Conference held in Barbados. And our organization was represented by the director of our academy, Dr. Victoria Elder. She attended the conference in person, and one of our participants in the program, Beverly Pyle of Guyana, who's the executive secretary of the National Commission on Disabilities in Guyana, she attended the conference. And so we were very pleased with our presence there and the interaction that it engendered. So it is good to meet you all and to network. And it probably feels like we've known each other not for 10 days, but for 10 years. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Wow.
I listened to an interview, a meeting that you had with Dr. Fort. I was so impressed by his clarity and the vision, the wide scope that he cast in that vision. So this morning I'm so privileged to be here, and I hope we hear from him in a big way.
Well, maybe you and him could have back and forth interaction and sharing your expertise, your experiences in imparting knowledge and helping persons with disabilities and the general public as a whole to appreciate all the nuances that goes along with disability awareness and how we can help people to rehabilitate in a functional way.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. One of the things I want to sort of go on is what Mr. Dorr just said, that the training should be for persons that do not have apparent, and I put the word apparent, disabilities, because I'm convinced that disabilities is a human phenomenon. So for those who do not have apparent disabilities, it is for those with disabilities to help us understand how to live. And so we train because we're trained by persons with disabilities. So I'd like to just put that as a through line, that persons with disabilities inform the world how to access them. And so organizations like mine, like yours, Dr. Lightbird, we coalesce around the theme of letting others know what we've learned from persons with disabilities. And I hope that makes some sense.
Dr. Hines, I like what you said there. My question would be this. We have a lot of forums, we have a lot of discussion points, a lot of seminars and conferences on the issues of disabilities and the the special needs and the elderly and stuff like that. But how many of these sessions engages the actual persons in terms of the research? I mean, we do a lot of research, and there's no question about the research. It is founded, it is solid. And how many of these sessions engages the actual persons?
Yeah, well, you're beginning the sermon there, Dr. Fort.
Oh, sorry. No, the thing is that we're not. I'm not saying that the seminar, the conference was recently held. We have a number of persons that were filled this disabled person that presented, and the legislators and stuff like that. That was great, but when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about these massive conferences. I'm talking about the smaller symposiums, the smaller seminars. Do we really engage the services of the disabled person to say to us exactly what they want? And if that is done, how many of what they say they want do we put in practice?
Come on now, Dr. Ford, my hand is going up. You're making the appeal after the sermon. Thank you so much. It is absolutely how we should be engaged. we need to follow through and practice what we preach. In my organization, we have a young lady sitting in Jamaica who is part of our outfit. If you go on our platform, you will see her there. And she literally helps us understand what her needs are. Just interacting with Mr. Dorr for this week, he is instructive in what he needs to go through our training program. And it urges us to find those means. And so I agree with you. In our outfit, which is a training outfit, we need to listen to what the needs are. But then, sir, I'd like to sort of explore with you other companies, other institutions, other groups who engage. Sometimes we treat, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, we treat persons with disabilities as charity cases, like they need food baskets. And there's nothing wrong with food baskets. But when I saw a couple of reels from Dr. Liebert, I saw persons with disabilities actually creating baskets, right? And I understand that that is a source of income. And so I think that not only do we train and raise awareness of those who do not have apparent disabilities, but we should engage persons with disabilities in workspaces. We should not only give them supply their immediate needs, but help them to also have the autonomy of being in the workplace. I think the United Nations had just a couple of years ago one of the themes for having them in the workplace. And if you look at the economic model, our region, the GDP of our region, is less by the input of persons with disabilities. For every person with a disability in the Caribbean, I'm from Guyana, there's an able-bodied person at home keeping them safe. So there are two persons who are not in the workplace. What we find in the first world is that almost every person with a disability is an entrepreneur, right? I am in a wheelchair, but I have this fashion house, and I create clothing. I am blind or visually impaired, but I have a flower shop, and we make these. I have a hair salon. They're engaged in so many things. They write books. They themselves make presentations. And so I think that your theme or your posture this morning is the correct one, that we should engage persons with disabilities in every aspect of our activity and have them inform us what the rest of the world needs.
Part of it has a lot. There was a situation in Barbados. We had a group that had a production program going on, and the person that gave them the space did that. They gave them the space. Now we had persons who have MS, we have persons who are blind, and then the person who is chair bound, and so people that were of the community had to go in and set up the room. And then when the session was finished, those same persons had to break down the room. So there was no real support. And the mentality was that we gave you the building. So we contributed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about charity cases, but I mean, there are persons that use disabled situations to justify they getting the grant or they getting a tax cutback. Because what they do, like I said just that, they will give you the room, but there's no real assisting. There's no telling you how the room is laid up for the blind person. There's no explaining to how the wheelchair is going to get from one step to the next step. There's nothing put in place, but I can simply say to you, whether you like it or not, I have contributed. I've contributed a room that would normally rent for $2,500. I give it to you free of cost. That's a tax exemption for me. And that's what we're faced with. And when we talk about you talk about charity, and the thing about charity is that we often see these people are as a case, but I think what's happening more and more is that we are treating them like mendicants, in the sense that we want to give them handouts and expect them to come begging everything they need something. We're not proactive in saying, you know what, better, I must make provisions for the disabled. We're not doing that. We thinking about just giving them handouts, and once we give you something, you get something, you should be happy. And that is a problem. That is a problem not only physically, it's a problem mentally, because these people are not treated like third-rate citizens, third-rate people at any of the day, whether we like it or not. You can become disabled within a minute, within a second, within a nanosecond. We have no control over that. And we don't seem to understand the seriousness of how we contribute to these people in a meaningful way, how we give in to help these people in a meaningful way. We see it as just a matter of, you know what, I gave you something, so you should be thankful. It frustrates me.
I hear you.
Myself.
I hear you. I feel you, sir.
Yeah,
I absolutely feel your frustration. And one of the things that we have made sure that we've put in place is the course in special education needs architecture. What you are saying is a conversion of the mind, a mindset, a worldview. And so for me, we have churches and schools and offices and places where we congregate, parks, and they're not accessible. They're not accessible. And something is wrong with society when we conscientiously leave out a certain sector of the society. They cannot get into the park. They cannot use the pool. They cannot go to church. When we are praising God, give you an example. I taught in a school in New York, and a church school, and we would have worship in the morning. So everyone is praising God. It's a whole set of noise for the person with neurodivergence. We had a 6-year-old, and she would just have her hand and run through the school because we're praising the Lord at that decibel. One day, she took the microphone. I was in charge of worship that morning. She took the microphone, and her beautiful voice went into the airwaves. And for 10 minutes, the entire school joined her in singing at a level that she could accommodate. It was the most beautiful thing that we ever experienced in the school.
In education, you call it constructivism. I mean, she did not tell you because she couldn't express it, but she showed it. And
showed it.
Because an opportunity was handed to her. A chance to express herself was given. And that's what we're not doing. We're not giving them that opportunity to express. And we tend to put a cap on how they speak, what they say. And I have seen people try to coach disabled people that have a speech impediment how to speak. I mean...
And I could have taken the mic away from her. She was not on the program, as it were. I could have shut her down, right? But this young lady, when she's running through the school, the teachers bring her to my room. And one of the things we don't understand with neurodivergence is their need to connect to us physically. She has to find my pulse. She has to find my pulse to settle down. And so when she comes, I give her my arm, she gets it, or she gets my pulse here. And she is out sleeping. When her mama comes to pick her up, she can't even move because she is in a certain
rhythm.
Yes. And these are practical ways that we soothe and share. And so she was always brought to my room, so she was comfortable to come to me and take the mic, and knowing, confident that I wouldn't shut her down. So she got the opportunity to sing, and the entire school joined her happily, And so we can have these experiences if, as you're saying, if we allow, if we do not force ourselves on others, but allow them to show us what's at the other end of our experience.
You do understand that we're better than them. You do understand we know more than them. You do understand we know what they desire and what they need. We know that more than them. You understand that the mentality? That's the mentality, Persons that don't see themselves as disabled, they tend to be that they're better than the person who's disabled. And so they judge them based on their own thought process rather than based on how the person is reacting. But I recently learned about trauma. And a lot of these disabled children go through a lot of trauma not because it is forced on them or it is maliciously placed on them, but because sometimes their caretakers do not know how to interact with them.
That is precisely so. Have you not observed that young children are a lot more engaged with their peers than older folk?
Yeah.
When you see elementary school kids, they know that she can't jump over that, and they adjust and make it and help the person in. As a teacher or adults in the school, you tend to say, no, don't do that or whatever. And the kids are right along with the person with the disability. They know they can't see, they know what they need, and they give it to them. It's something that they're almost taught not to understand.
Because we I don't know if we are protecting or we're damaging. Because again, like I said, we try to pronounce on them what we know best for them, as opposed to helping them to help us to understand them. If you understand me. Yes. And what you're talking about on the playground, children somehow have this innate understanding of each other.
Innate.
And they can, when you allow children to just be children, you see a sincerity, an innocence that's very helpful, that's very accommodating, that's very loving. But when we adults, with our education, our big backgrounds, gets involved, we destroy that fabric. We destroy that understanding of care. We destroy and we create this segregate. We create this distance between children because we teach certain children they're this way and you're that way. We teach certain children you have more hair and that person has less there. And when that happens, that's how society is formed. That's how the adult population becomes. And then the world grows up thinking, you know what, there must be a segregation. But they don't have to be.
No.
They don't have to be.
No. Not at all.
You talked about baskets. Dr. Rainford was doing some baskets on Thursday last week. Rainford is visually impaired.
I saw him.
I saw him. I did a fantastic job.
And he shut me down, Dr. Hines. He shut me down. Paul shut me down. He came to me, he said, listen, you're going faster than everybody else. Take a break.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Well, he didn't shut you down. He slowed you up.
Oh, okay. I'd like to share a personal testimony. Don't like too much to bring attention to myself, but I believe it's critical for us to understand, to amplify what we're talking about. I worked at an establishment. I am a broadcast sound engineer by profession. And so I was at work, and this gentleman who is in the same field that I am, he's of course sighted, and he came to the establishment. At the time I was promoted to production supervisor, right? Operation supervisor. So he came to the establishment, went to the receptionist, said, I'm looking for the blind guy that's normally on the radio. So she called my office. I walk out to the reception area, sat next to the gentleman, introduced myself, talked to him, and so we spoke for about an hour. He was excited, and I was due to go on air in the next 5 minutes. So I said, why don't you join me on my program? He did so. And so we were on air for about another hour. Had fun. It was a music program. Had fun, we interacted with the audience, with each other, and so on. Then after that, we went back to the lobby and sat down and talked some more. Then the gentleman said to me, listen carefully. The gentleman said to me, all this is fine. I really enjoyed being here, and thank you for your accommodation and everything like that. But I really came here to meet a blind guy. He's on the radio. I listen to him every day and so on. I really would like to meet with him. And so the receptionist walked out, because she was within earshot and she could see us. She said, "But I've told you that's the gentleman." He said, "Which gentleman?" So he proceeded to say, "You don't understand. You didn't understand me." She said, "I understand you perfectly well. I'm saying to you, you are speaking to the gentleman." He says, "No, it cannot be. He cannot be the blind guy." So I asked him, "Do you know the name of the blind guy?" Then he sat down and he thought. He said, "But you carry the same name." So what do you mean you carry the same name? So I said, "What's the name of the blind guy?" He said, "I think it's Renfrew. I said, "My name is Renfrew." He said, "No, you cannot be the blind guy." So I said, "Okay, I rest my case." Now, what was his problem?
He couldn't see.
He
He was blind.
Now let me tell you what his problem was. Now I've worked at this place for years, right? I know this building inside out, right? So I took him on a tour of the building, and then I took him in the on-air studio and did my program with him, right? Set up his mic, gave him his headphone, did everything that was necessary for the studio for him to be on air, right? We went on chat and had fun. He just could not believe, he didn't want to accept that I had oriented myself to the point where I could be comfortable in my space, right? And that is exactly the point that we are trying to make. If he had allowed me the opportunity, to explain to him how I do what I do, for him life would have been much easier. But he just didn't want to accept it. He thought that he would come and meet the blind guy and help him around. I mean, how could you help somebody around in their own space? It just doesn't make sense to me. I would have to show you how to get around in my space. It's my space, not your space. You're a visitor. You're my guest. Right? Now that one more important point, I had an opportunity where one of my sons had to present a gift to me in church some years ago on Father's Day. And at that point, he chose to not to just give me the gift, but he wanted to make a point to the congregation. And he said that it was very, very touching. And it was the first time that I realized that my children saw me really for who I was. He said, "At home, we don't see Daddy as a blind person. As a matter of fact, when we want things, we have to ask Daddy to find them for us." Why? Because Daddy has taken the time to ensure that he knows where everything is. He knows how to get to everything without bringing harm to himself or to anyone else. And that's what persons with disability do, right? They make sure that they are comfortable. And they can teach you if you give them the time. They can explain to you if you give them the time. If you listen, they can tell you how they get themselves comfortable and safe in whatever space they're allowed to be in. I had to say to some of my coworkers who were all sighted, the art of listening, I had to teach them. Because they thought, because they can see, they look for everything. And so because they look for everything, they don't listen. Right?
That's it.
So in the studio, we have what we call LED signals, right? Like if Dr. Lywood was going to be on this console, he would look at the lights, flashing, making sure that they are just bouncing into the red and don't stay. That's what I said to him, to make sure that your levels are consistent, right? For me, I listen because I know, and this is just one short 30-second lesson, I know if the signal goes into the red, it's going to get distorted, right?
Yes.
So I make sure I stay below the threshold of distortion.
Yes.
I don't have to look to see the LED lights bouncing. I know they are bouncing because of what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Right? And that is just one little important point I wanted to share so that persons would understand that they can be a lot more helpful than they realize.
If they just take time
If
to
they
listen.
just take time to listen, right? And as Paul pointed out earlier, you don't teach people. Well, yes, at some point you have to teach them things, because I'm always willing to learn. I'll tell my children, You learn from anybody. Wherever you go, don't ever give the impression that you know everything, right?
Nope.
You can always learn.
Point.
And you have to ask questions. You can always learn something. My mother used to tell us, you can learn from a fool.
Everyone's a teacher,
Yes.
The question is what you're learning, but everyone's a teacher.
Absolutely.
Right? So I always position myself to learn something. But guess what? I learn it in my way, not how you want to teach me it. I must choose how I learn it.
Yes.
And if you allow me to learn it my way, I can maximize what you're trying to teach me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That testimony, I'm 100% sure it resonates with number of persons with disabilities.
Absolutely.
And he was the person who was blind because he could not accept what his eyes were saying. See, everyone was saying, and when I first met Rayford, I was told that he's visually impaired, and I didn't believe it because I saw him on the Facebook live, and the way he operated his system, it didn't appear that way. You understand me? But then you come in. I never said to him he is, he isn't. I let him tell me what it is. He was. I don't question but it, and we don't take time to do that because we think, as Rayford said, we think we are going to help these individuals as opposed to taking time to listen to them and learn from them. Because again, we are seeing ourselves as better than them. And that is the fundamental problem right there, because we don't want to accept that we can learn from a disabled person. And some of them are more intelligent than any of us could ever be put together.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's things we have to look at in terms of how we get persons to come to the compassionate understanding that these people only need assistance from you in terms of handouts and stuff like that. What they need is the understanding that they can do things.
Are you aware, Paul, that almost in every instance you meet somebody, they always say, doesn't matter who he or she is, they'll say, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Is that really genuine? Or is it just a cliche?
I don't know if they say it's a cliche. There's some persons that will be genuine.
Yes.
But there are some persons that, out of ignorance, and when I say ignorance, they don't know it, so you can't fault them. But there's some persons who just think that, because you're impaired, because you're different, they might have to help you. And that is how we train people. You can't get vexed that individual. You can't say they're not sincere. They might be sincere, but yes, it is wrong because that's all they were taught. But again, it is what they were taught. That's what we do. We teach people that, what, if you see a person in a wheelchair, you must rush to their aid. If you see a person in crutches, you must rush to, and it is not. It's not always what that individual wants. They don't want handouts. They don't want pity. They want the opportunity to do like you're doing. That's all they want.
Inclusion, opportunity, and access. Inclusion, opportunity, and access.
And I'm glad you said access and not accessibility, because everybody's talking about accessibility for the disabled. Everybody talks about accessibility. So you know what they do? Government build ramps, they build handrails, and they build barricades for disabled. That's accessibility. But when we talk about access, you got programs that's being offered to so-called able-bodied persons, offer these to the disabled community too. That's access. But you have a sports initiative.
Paul, just a point there. Do you know how many ramps we have in town and everywhere that just leads to the sidewalk? And then the building is another 8 inches away. So you get to the sidewalk and you could only get to the door of the office that you want to go to, right? Because the ramp doesn't follow through.
No, because they put things in the public's eye to say, we have created accessibility.
Yes.
You can't say that they didn't. They did. The mentality is that you should be thankful. That's the mentality. Whether or not is the right mentality or not, that's the mentality going forward. You say, what accessibility? We build ramps. We give you car parks. We give you handrails. We give you bathrooms. What more do you want?
Yes.
That's the mentality. But they're not giving you access to things.
Absolutely.
And when I say access, I mean to programs, to initiatives, to job opportunities. You're not having access to these things. There's a number of job opportunities across the Caribbean that I'm 100% sure disabled persons can do, but they do not have the access to get to them. They're not following their inbox. They're not following to their cell phone WhatsApp thing. They're not following to their social media pages. They're following to everybody else's. And no one thinks to themselves, no, wait, you know what? Nicole might be in a wheelchair, but she's very brilliant. Let me give her this opportunity so she gets this opportunity. No, they're not going to do that.
Yes.
And you know what that does to the person with a disability? It puts them in a really timid position, as it were, right?
But
Because, for instance, because I know my space, right? I am not going to ask you for help. But you, as an able person, feels that I should ask for help or that you should help me. And when indeed, in fact, you trying to help me makes things worse. And my refusing your help makes me look bad.
yeah, you're ungrateful.
Makes me look ungrateful, right?
Yeah, you're ungrateful. I try to help you. You refuse me help. You're ungrateful.
Exactly.
I get wrong.
Makes me look
He
proud,
ungrateful.
arrogant, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But what about dignity?
But
What
no,
about
no, no,
that
no.
person?
No, that's not included in the conversation.
They cannot. A person with disability is not allowed to have dignity, because when you have dignity and you have a sense of pride in yourself
And confidence.
and confidence, people tend to think, you know what, that you're more than anybody else. And so when they see that person as disabled, the first thing is that, you know what, they can't do. I've recently learned something from a lady that has MS. I knew nothing about MS, and I asked a question, and I asked her to educate me, and she gave me a whole set of stories about it. And when she told me what MS was, it became a bit, it was frightening for me to accept. I said to her, I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear anymore because I can't handle it. I said to her. But, we kept on communicating, and she said something that is very, 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 very important, that we don't seem to understand as people. She said the individual that born with disability or born disabled adapts to the world according to their disability, and they fit in perfectly. So that individual might not need much assistance. But the individual who have now come into disability, they have to do two things simultaneously. One, they have to grieve what they were before.
Yes.
And at the same time, they have to learn what they are now.
Yes.
That individual is going to need more assistance. That individual is going to need a listening ear. That individual is going to need coaching. That individual is going to need someone to help guide them through the process. But the person who have had disabilities from birth and have adapted to it, that person doesn't want your assistance. They want you to contribute sincerely to helping others that are less than them. Because what you see is that these individuals, and most of you see this, those individuals who born with this disability, they're always on the forefront to help others with disabilities.
Can I share a light moment, Paul? I was born visually impaired, and to tell you the truth, and you may think it's funny, and it is funny because when I think about it, it is funny. In my primary years, we never had preschool. Those we had what we call infant school, right? So going for infant school, that's between 5 and 7, right? I was in school, running about, doing everything because I thought that all the that I was perfect. I didn't think that I had a problem. I thought that everyone else saw the way I saw.
I love that.
It was my mother who had to sit me down and let me know I have a visual limitation. Right?
Okay.
And it was only when I got into primary school, and then it was more taxing in terms of looking on the board and all that, and doing a lot more reading and so on, that I realized, well, hey, everyone else is comfortable except me. And that's when it hit me that. And that's when I got to understand that I'm visually impaired.
You see that
You understand what I'm saying?
that's very interesting because you have students. My cousin, he's I don't know if it's quite hard to hear or he's deaf, but he wears the ear things,
Hearing aid.
Yeah, and his mom, she was pregnant with him when they had the first 9/11 bombing. The very first 9/11 bombing, the first one. They were in the building, and when the bomb went off, my aunt put her hand to her ears. And so, because it was loud.
Yes.
So, but she was pregnant with him. So when he
Yes.
born,
Printing.
he will often put his hand to his ears like that
Printing.
all the time. So we never pay any mind until one day she took him to the doctor,
Radiologist.
and a lady who had nothing to do with it recognized what was going on, and she called her and asked her, "Is anything wrong with your son?" My aunt said, "Not that she knows about. Just go for regular checkup." And she said, "Can I do?" And she took him and did some tests, and they recognized that the child can't hear. And my aunt had no idea of that because Steve, and he would come to you. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he felt the vibration in the atmosphere that she called his name, or if you know the homes in the US, the homes are usually closed, so a lot of vibrations travel easy and sound travel easy, so you feel it sometimes. So I don't know if that's what he was coping with, because they live in the US, but
Yes.
that is what she was going through for his first year or so. So from that point already, the Children's Hospital in Tampa took over and helped him. You know what I'm saying? With sign language and everything. So before that, we had no idea that was going on. And what you're saying is something that we don't see. And again, it comes back to the training of persons in society who's going to interact with these individuals, are particular teachers at the nursery school level, at the reception level, at the daycare level. Because these are going to spend more time with these children on a daily basis, and instead of just putting them in the playpen to allow them to be just there, you know, they need to be trained how they can observe these children and observe how they interact with others, or how they interact with the toys, to see what is going on. Because you can see certain things when you're trained. You can see certain behaviors and patterns that present themselves and suggest that, you know, something is wrong. And nothing is wrong with asking a parent to you know, have your child tested. There's some parents that are very indifferent.
Yes.
They don't want to accept that their child might be disabled. They don't want to accept their child might have a slight learning issue. And we can understand to a certain extent because they take the ever so lofty. But at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about the child's development. It's about the child's progress. It's about the child understanding, you know what, you have to live a certain way to cope. Because like you said, Redford, you recognize that the children were all comfortable, you were uncomfortable. And that in itself is a frustrating thing, and that is trauma, because you sit down and see others are doing things, getting through. You start thinking to yourself, you're stupid, and you know what, you don't have the brains to do the work. But it's not that; it's just that you can't see the work properly. So in that you stupid, and there's children that actually internalize these things because of how we treat them based on what they can't do, and because we're not trained to recognize certain things. And that's an issue across the board, and training, and I've said this over and over again, training for persons without disabilities is important, it is critical, and it's much needed now to help the disabled community, because a lot of persons there so encounter a lot of persons with disability, they hide it, they shun it, and in some cases they scorn them. And these are things that we need to get flushed out of society right away if the country is supposed to survive. The disabled community have a contribution to make to GDP of any country. It has a contribution to make to any country's development status, social fabric, financial outcome, infrastructural development. The disabled community contributes, whether we want to accept that or not, they do.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
And
ladies
look
and
at
gentlemen.
what we're experiencing here in the U.S., where if the police force, if those folk on the force are not trained in disability awareness, then they'll shoot someone because the person isn't cooperating, right? But they don't understand spectrum.
But whose fault is that? You see,
But
you can't blame the police for doing their job. The police feel threatened. The child that they approach, or the person they approach, feels threatened also. The person reacts. The police is going to react, and the fault is at us for not training these people. We need to get these people trained.
But that's what I'm saying. The component in police training
Yeah,
should be with that in mind.
police,
There should
firemen, postmen,
Doctor.
mailmen,
But all of
doctor
society.
have to be trained.
All of society.
Dr.
All of
Paul and Dr.
Sorry,
Hines,
sorry.
I'm afraid we are going to have to continue this conversation next week because our newsman is knocking the door, getting ready to present, and
We have 40 minutes more.
I'm just letting you know, on Fridays, I normally say Dr. will testify that this hour is the shortest on Fridays
It
because
is.
there's so much to talk about and we just have until 8 o'clock. So I just wanted to let you know that in about 30 minutes we have to, you know, exit the studio.
Yes.
So
Yeah, but before we reach to that junction, I mean, the conversation was very intriguing. I didn't want to interrupt prematurely as you both shared your perspective, but we need practical solutions. And so,
Yes.
Dr. Hines, you have a collaboration,
Yes.
consortium of experts who you do. So maybe you should give the listening audience some of the step-by-step processes that can be activated as of today to begin that
Yes.
transition to bring
Yes.
empowerment and awareness.
Well, I would invite anyone to join our platform. Um, Perhaps your outfit, Dr. Liebert, can provide the online URL, the identification for the Charlotte services.
I'll put it in
And
the chat box is www dot
yes, CESC
CESC
4553
4553.org.
.org. Yes,
So that link is in the Facebook Live chat for this
absolutely.
program, and anybody one
Yes.
can
And
check it out.
we raise awareness in several areas. We raise awareness in law, international law, where the US and the first world are the gold standard. And what we're trying to do as a cadre of Caribbean based instructors is to bring our region up to that standard of awareness. Uh, when we interact in our classes, we find out that people are not aware of their rights. Persons with disabilities in the Caribbean don't know what an individualized education plan is. There's not the commitment. The IEP, Individualized Education Plan, is a legal document where the government is committed to ensuring that you have certain accommodations. We don't have that in the Caribbean. And so
We
every,
started it in Barbados. It was started in
correct,
Barbados at some of the
correct.
the schools for challenge students.
Yes, yes,
The issue is again we started it, but the issue was the real implementation of the actual IEP
yes.
status. What it states, what ought to happen. The question whether or not they be implemented accordingly.
Yes, so we give all of that information. So I am blown away at the potential for making our region aware of their what the processes are. And if you join us in our classes, we have distilled the cost. When you come to the US or a US university, you pay $1,000 for 1 credit hour. We have distilled that down to make it accessible to our persons in the Caribbean. So for each module, and a module runs for a month, it's 300 US dollars, not 1,000 per credit. And so we are focused on the law, international, regional, and national law. And we understand that some folk have enacted laws, some are in the process, and they need guidance as to how. We teach you how, all the advocacy skills. We teach
I'm
you how to
Dr.
argue
Hines.
your case.
Because there was something that came up in a discussion in a class last night with Dr.
Yes,
Lashley, the child find process. So maybe you want to highlight that significant
yes,
process.
yes. Here in the US, folk, teachers, parents, what have you, are encouraged to go out and find a child that, for example, you were talking about the child who could or could not do things. We are enjoined in the US to go and find that child and then connect them to resources. So there's a child find encouragement out here in the US. We'd like to implement that in the Caribbean. Go and find the child before. I visited Jamaica, and I was appalled to learn from the parents that they're told, bring the child when the child is 5 or 6. That's late. That is late. When a child is born, you have the first assessment. We get an APGAR score, right? When the baby is born, the parents come away from the pediatrician with a score on the scale of 1 to 10. How is your child upon being born? And you can go with that as the first assessment. After that, by the time the child is 2 years old, they should have a psychoeducational assessment. It is imperative to set them up for success. And so when you speak about implementation, you can't implement what you don't know about. So please, let us share what we know so that our region can provide for the citizens of the region what they need. This is not a handout. It's not a handout. It is sharing and learning together. So we begin with the law, and then the second module is the categories of disabilities. We know in the Caribbean, we call people lots of pejorative names. We say that you're dunce. In my time, I'm old enough to know what a dunce cap looks like. And teachers made it, right? And you wore that cap for the day because you couldn't do what the others did. And you sat in the corner with your dunce cap on. How terrible is that?
Wow.
What trauma? What trauma that for the day your peers would look at you as the dunce of the class. And so we teach all the categories of disabilities in that course. And then we go on to the third module, RTI and IEP. RTI is the response to intervention. We talk about inclusive classrooms, but if the teachers aren't trained to teach everyone in the classroom, it's not inclusive, right? So you just have the person sit at the back of the class because you don't have the time. If you have 20, 30 persons in your school, sit at the back of the class.
Okay, Dr.
Right?
Hines,
So,
I don't want to interrupt you, it's a very significant, it's an icebreaker.
yes.
And Paul, you've been doing some work with our St. Nevis and you love us so much that you have gone above and beyond what we expect. So can you just tell the audience some of what you've observed with working with St. Nevis, what we have been trying to accomplish?
Oh, okay.
And how we can merge what Dr. Hines is offering with what we are trying to do here on the ground.
Well, what Dr. Hines is offering, in my opinion, is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the cost for it is even better. I'm going to get some persons from Barbados to register, I'm telling you. But the thing is that what we have been seeing at the center here with CBR, we saw a lot of persons who are not coming out. When we did the basket, we saw a lot more activity from these individuals. And when I say activity, I mean they're just excited, but you see that they had the ability to learn it. And not only learn it, that we had persons that were helping one another. You understand me? But these things are shunned away from because, we take them, we send them to daycare, we send them to a nursing home, and that's it. There's no real engagement. But what you're planning to do now is going to help myself and help other persons like me who wants to really contribute to understand how best to interact with them on a legal framework. Not only a legal framework, on understanding to the Caribbean context, and how persons here are treated different to how they're treated in the U.S. Because as much as we talk about the U.S., there are a lot of facilities for disabilities in the U.S. and England. Their places did a lot of work in getting things. They could be better, but much better what we have. We appreciate what you're doing. We're doing something called the strategic development goals here at CBR, and phase 2 started where we started doing the training with the basket tree. We can start a lot more different vocational training with them. But what you're doing is fitting in because in phase 3 we're looking at having persons outside come in and not only see the people making the basket, but to purchase these things from the people on a level where it become commercial. And so once they can come and understand that, so your training fits in squarely with phase 3 in the sense that we can now understand better how to interact with people on a legal framework concept. So it works better for us in that sense. But right now we're seeing the development of these persons at the center. We're seeing these persons moving from just being sitting down in a wheelchair or just feeling as though, I just come here to kill time, and they're actually doing things. And they're looking forward to doing the baskets and stuff like that because it's an activity and it's something that helps them to help themselves. So it is good, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an amazing icebreaker this morning, and we could be here a bit longer, but we have to bring you back again. And so I'm so thankful that the little effort that we have started with this community-based rehabilitation project at the center, where persons can have a space to go in the community, a safe space, like they're home away from home, as if they're going to work, because no one wants to employ them, because they feel that because they have an impairment that they are unemployable. But we know they have potential, and we are trying to unearth that potential and bring them out of the shadows into the light, and show that they can contribute to the wealth of their home and their family, their communities. And that's what CBI is all about. It is showing people how to help themselves despite their impairment. And folks, I don't want to rush you off the air this morning, but it's so happy to have this interaction that we can have both of you on this platform. And even though you are miles apart, the world is so small now through technology. And we can continue this collaboration, and the training courses are online, right, Dr. Hines?
Yes, completely online.
Right, so that's a good start. So all who are listening this morning can go to cesc4553.org and engage with Dr. Hines, and she'll be happy to walk you through the system. She works day and night.
Yes.
And I can testify to that. Online technology.
Refer, she's probably family to Dr. Langberg.
Yes. Dr. Hines?
Yes, sir.
Would it be appropriate for me to ask you to commit to next Friday's program?
Oh, with pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I think Paul is still going to be on island, correct, Paul?
Yes, I'll be here next week Friday. Yes.
Right, so next Friday at 6:45 we will resume, and
To be continued.
to be continued. Thank you very much. Right, and so let our listening audience know you're listening to 2020 Vision Radio 102.1 FM, and this is Out of the Shadows into the Light. Dr. Lai with our host, Dr. Paul Ford, Dr. Bridget Hines have been with us this morning. We are so delighted to have had both of you, and we hope that the message that we shared this morning resonated with you all listening audience, and that you will commit to responding in one way or the other. At least those of you here in Nevis, we invite you to the Cotton Ground Community Center, where our day center is every day, and that's a good start for you. You can come and see folks in action, and you may have or know of someone that you can bring, or just bring yourself, and that's a good start. Dr. Lai would normally say just raise your hand and be a part of the conversation. Dr. Lywood's number is out there. As he likes to say, he's always present on social media. You can reach him. You can reach me at 1-869-663-0229, and we can start a conversation as to how you can be a part of CBR, or how you can assist, or whatever you can do, whether it's with resources or whether it's with whatever.
The strange thing is that during the conference in Barbados last year, I didn't attend in person. I attended online. And during the lunch break, the Zoom was running and there was nothing going on. And there was a few of us online. And we said, let's just start a conversation. And that's how Dr. Hines and I got connected,
Okay, good.
We were both online while the others were at lunch, and the Zoom was going, and just empty space there, and nothing to keep the online participants engaged. And so we filled that void. Yes. And here we are still collaborating today.
The rest is history.
And we're still saying, let's start the conversation.
Okay, so folks, we got to wrap it up. The computer is flashing at me, so it's been good to be here. No wrap up, because we'll continue on Friday, God willing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hines.
Thank you all very much.
Have a good weekend.
A pleasure. Blessings. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Eureka Health Services and 2020 Vision Radio presents Out of the Shadows and Into the Light with host Dr. Glenville E. Liebert and special guests. Join us every Friday at 7 a.m. as we promote awareness of disability issues to affect policy and social change for the better. Be a part of the conversation by calling 1-869-469-7953 or 1-869-765-7312. You can also WhatsApp call 1-869-669-7.
This 2020 Vision Radio newscast is sponsored by EC Computer Services, PICO, and the Nevis Cooperative Credit Union. EC